Hey, it's Brian G here. Thank you for clicking on this video. I wanted to talk a little bit about being a creative, reaching a new level, and specifically about photography. You see, I've been into photography now for a number of years, and I still have such a long way to go. However, over the last few months, I've reached a new level of satisfaction from the images I've been able to take, and I wanted to pass along some of the secrets, some of the tips, some of the things I've stumbled on, literally, that have allowed me to take way better photos easily. For example, having the ability to almost effortlessly capture this photo of a red-tailed hawk with a bunny in its talons. Crazy! Or snapping this eagle. Holy smokes, a bald eagle, and having the ability to not only just use manual focus, but a few other Sony settings that really allowed me to grab the photo crisp and clean. Or finally, after 5 or 6 attempts, being able to successfully capture the full moon rising right behind the Denver skyline. It took a lot of time, thought, a few different apps, and some planning to execute on that photo. Tip number 1 is to leverage the power of the ordinary and mundane. It's taking a picture of your dog, of a robin, of a bee or dragonfly. It's honing your skills any and every time you can. And that's one of the things I did this year. Every day I would spend maybe an hour snapping insects, bugs. Sometimes I would go to a park. Sometimes I would go out on my deck. I would be done in 45 minutes, an hour. But I always stayed really curious. I was always really interested in my camera, the settings, learning, growing. I would think, what if I increased the shutter speed? Maybe it would freeze the action and I would get a sharper focus. For example, this shot of a dragonfly, which technically isn't that amazing until you realize just how far that dragonfly was away from me when I shot it with this setup, the 200 to 600 millimeter G Master lens and my Sony A1. You see, the dragonfly was here. It was literally like 100 yards away. However, because I had practiced the tracking of a bird, I was able to track the dragonfly as it flew all over the neighborhood, and I got this incredible shot. And days later, as the hawk flew over my home, I was ready. I didn't have to think about it. My settings were perfectly set, and I grabbed this photo. Amazing! But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. The first thing you really have to do in order to become a great photographer, and again, I'm on the path to becoming a great photographer. I've got a long way to go, but that is what's so exciting. But first, I had to get over my fear of messing up, my fear of not knowing the settings, my fear of getting in a situation where I would miss the shot, I would blow it, or I would blow a video. And this little camera helped me do it. It's the Sony ZV-1, about $700, incredible for video, shoots great photos as well. And this camera really helped me get over the fear of messing up. You see, as a YouTuber for a long time, I didn't understand manual exposure, focus settings, really how to get a great looking image, white balance, and on and on. However, to get the very best looking photo or video, you absolutely want to understand manual exposure, manual focus peaking, all these things so you can get the most out of your camera. Now, when I started, I shot on a camera on a tripod just like I'm doing now, and I spent a long time coming up with default settings. And this is another tip, let's call it tip number 2 for you. The thing you can do is think about coming up with your own default settings. This works for photography, works for video, whether you're shooting indoors or out. Think about how you shoot most of the time and come up with a setting that works good, whether it's auto exposure, whether it's autofocus, whether it's priority mode. Use whatever you can to take photos that work pretty good And then the thing you want to do is write those down, make a mental note of them so you don't get so hung up on what if I forget the settings. Write them all down, have them available maybe on an iPad, maybe on a noteboard, a piece of paper, whatever, and that will free you up. And then the goal is to experiment, to open yourself up, to wonder about the possibilities, the potential, the different settings, understanding your ISO, the aperture of your camera, what that controls, depth of field really, and how much light comes into the camera, and so on. And the more you just watch a video here and there, and you continually take photos, and the more you experiment, and the more you open yourself up to the possibility and the potential, the more likely you're going to take a photo that absolutely blows you away. Tip number 3 is the juice is in the journey. It's really enjoying the process of taking a photo, of editing your photos, of hoping to create something magical and knowing one day you're going to get pretty close. And the longer you stay on that path, the path to great photography, the more photos you'll take that really blow you away. And the way to make that happen is to stay in the game and to continue taking photos. Early, you'll be less likely to take a photo that makes you go, wow. But over time, you'll find you get closer and closer. And that progression will keep you moving forward because the juice is in the journey. Tip number 4 is to create a lifestyle that supports your goals of becoming a great photographer. We just talked about the fact that juice is in the journey and you want to take a lot of photos, and early you'll be less likely. Well, the thing you can do is to ensure you're always taking photos. That's why in the summer of 2021, every morning I'd go out on my deck and take pictures of anything that was flying through the air or landing on a bush. When I got to go pick up my girlfriend from work, I take my camera. You see, you never know what you're going to run into. And the more you open yourself up to taking just one more photo, the more likely you'll take a photo that is amazing. It's all about creating that lifestyle that supports the thing you want to get great at, photography. Tip number 5, lean into faith rather than fear. So many people are fearful of making a mistake. So many people are fearful of manual settings, which is absolutely where the magic happens. So many people are fearful of not getting the shot. But you know what? When you put yourself in a position to take the shot, and you do, you can learn. The only way to become a great painter is to paint more pictures. The only way to become a great author is to write more words and stories. And the only way to become a great photographer is to take more pictures. Believe you can. Have faith that you can, and in time, indeed, you will become a great photographer.